NanMan here, and we're back with some commentary. I hope you guys enjoyed the first video we did. It was Tron versus Yawgmoth, getting some players to kind of learn Modern and kind of go through and talk through and teach everybody a little bit about Modern through some of the fun decks that we've got. So this time we've got two other decks that are in Modern. It is going to be Hammer Time versus Mill. Now, Mill has updated and changed a bit since its early days. Used to be like a speed mill, all about like using two-drop mill effects. Now it's kind of slowed down a little bit and is much heavier on the three drops with things like Tasha's Hideous Laughter and things like that. Tasha's Hideous Laughter, amazing in Modern because so many cards are low CMC. It doesn't do so well against Tron, but this is not a Tron matchup, so we don't have to worry about that. And kind of setting things up here for our player. Again, we've got the audio set up for players to be able to you hear a little bit of their chatter in the background there. Again, we can adjust the volumes if you guys feel like it's too loud, too quiet. You want to hear more about what the players are saying. Let me know. We could do some adjustments. Also, if you're noticing any mistakes, leave a comment. Let me know. If you have tips, if you pilot any of these decks and you want to tell these players, hey, consider doing it this way or prioritize doing this, leave a comment. Let us know. It's all about educating players, especially with this content that we're putting out with our gameplay stuff. We want people to learn how to play Modern because Modern's so much fun. All right, this is one of my favorite parts of this setup here. So it's like, all right, land pass. No, he's just trolling. Like, respond. I'm gonna respond. It's like nothing's happened. You can't respond yet. All right, you gotta wait for your opponent to cast something. But yeah, I like the little trolliness that the players had, little banter. So, Agent Crab, this is one of the things that was existing in previous versions, of course, of Modern, especially the mill. You can already hear it. This is when the sword player figured out he was playing against mill. So the mill player asks, "Hey, does that make you search?" And there's the Archive Trap. Archive Trap, one of the best cards, existed in original Mill. It's just like the Heejin Crab existed in original Mill. It's set up here to, mill 13 cards. Normally costs 5 mana, but if your opponent searches their library, which if you're playing Modern, everybody's running fetches, they're always searching their library, so you are casting Archive Trap for 0. Here's 0 mana, mill 13 cards, please, which is a nice little chunk right off the top for your opponent there. But because your opponent has to search, this allows our Hammer Time player to, respond to it and does throw down a Spell Pierce. So this is the blue-white version of Hammer Time, so it can get access to Reality Chip. It gets access to Spell Pierce main board. I'm also running some unblockable friends inside of the main board in mine, just because I have less Surge of Salvations right now. I'm doing a 2 main board, and I've got 2 sideboards, so it's like trying to decide and adjust. Again, Hammer Time's not my main deck. I've done experimentations with Blighted Agent, so right now we're not running Blighted Agent, but I love Infected. Hammer Time was a list I ran for a little bit just to kind of test out. It's it's fine. It's not top tier or nothing like that, but it's just a fun way to do it. Now there was a miss trigger. Did you guys see that? I don't know if the mill player indicated it. Probably did, and I think we're gonna get some corrections here. But of course, Agent Crab is landfall trigger. So just same with Ruin Crab that exists and is in the list as well. But Agent Crab, whenever land enters the battlefield under your control, target player puts the top 3 cards of his or her library into his or her graveyard. Which that Stoneforge should have been in the graveyard. Now they're all laughing about, oh, you're searching? Are you searching? The Archive Trap is coming again. I have had, it does feel great to be on the mill side and be able to double Archive Trap somebody. Like 26 cards in one turn is nuts. So now we're in that searching phase, looking for specific equipment. Oh, so now, okay, here's the correction there. Yeah, I mean, again, these players are learning. It's a little bit more casual. This is not an LGS. This is not a tournament aspect. We know as spectators watching, we should have caught that and fixed it and corrected it. And if there was a judge, they could have gone back and done stuff like that. But we know that Stoneforge should have been in the graveyard. I don't know if he already had a Stoneforge in his hand. We'll have to maybe look through and see. Because if that's the case, then none of this really matters. It's all the same, I guess. But, you know, is something to think about. All right, so Cauldron Complete, which is always a great one, unless you happen to have, of course, a way to get your hammer online and activated. Maybe you have a Sigarda's aid, or you have the Pure Steel Paladin to make your equipment basically free. Then Cauldron Complete is always a solid threat to put out on the board and start, you know, putting a clock on your opponent, especially Mill, because this matchup here is 100% a race matchup, right? You're racing to kill your opponent as fast as possible. Cauldron Complete, hammer time. You're trying to assemble that and beat them down, while your opponent is trying to race and strip away all the cards in your deck as fast as possible. So we'll see what sort of response it is. Now that that information has been revealed, the Mill player does have access to, you know, cards that could counter, could mess with stuff, could kill that. Like Drown the Lock is in the list, so you can destroy target creature with converted mana cost equal to or less than the number of cards in the graveyard, or you can counter a spell with a similar ability. Don't know if they have it in their hand, but they could. Right now would be a perfect time to kill Stoneforge Mystic and try to keep your opponent off of that. But I think our Mill player must be short on lands, because we're going to see a cycling here. So this is Fractured Sanity. Normally, if you hard cast it for the triple blue, each opponent will mill 14 cards. But if you cycle it, you know, each opponent mills 4 cards. So stripping away some cards, drawing some cards, trying to get into another land, it looks like. Which, yeah, it does seem like he must have been digging for and did not find. So Hammer Time player will be able to activate. There's Cauldron Complete coming out, which is, you know, Stoneforge Mystic is a huge powerhouse in Modern once it got unbanned, and, you know, we're seeing a deck that was completely designed around it with the Hammer Time stuff. You know, very cool deck. If you have not played it, you know, you do have that ability to have Ink Moth in there and infect someone to death. You've got things like Giver of Runes to give stuff unblockable and protection. So yeah, here's our little germ that we used. If you guys watched our Yawgmoth video, he might look a little familiar to you. He was our orc army that we used our Infinite Tokens there. So shout out to Infinite Tokens for designing such amazing product. Not a sponsor though, but if you want to sponsor the videos, you know, we could talk. Cauldron Complete is awesome. We've talked about how it's the big powerhouse of it. It's a 5/5 creature. That's why we got the 5 dice on there. Whenever it does have haste though, right? Equipped creature gets +5/+5, first strike, trample, indestructible, and haste. Yeah. And I will search. Yeah. Also, Cauldron Complete gets to exile creatures that it kills. So, you know, we start getting the clock going. So I don't know if there's a lot of words on Cauldron Complete. So this might be one of those. We'll see if our Hammer Time player knows that it gets haste, because it has living weapon. So when it enters, it equips onto the creature. That creature does give haste now, and trample, and first strike, and indestructible. It's got all the stuff. So much text though. So I can understand if our Hammer Time player doesn't notice it or realize that it's got haste. But I don't know. We'll find out. Oh, he does have double Stormforge in his hand, so it's not. I don't think it really made much of a difference, unless he drew that later on. I don't know. Okay, so he doesn't attack, so that's a little thing, right? That would have been 5 damage coming his opponent's way. I'm assuming he's keeping the crab. You know, he can always block that later on. Let's see. I thought he was delving for a second. He's like, no, he's doing Visions of Beyond. All right, going to draw some card. I don't believe there are 20 cards in the graveyard at this point in time, so he is only going to be drawing 1 card off of it. But if there were 20, then you could be able to draw 3 cards instead of 1. All right. Oh. Landfall. Oh, yeah. We did get to see our Sigarda's Aid go to the graveyard here, so that definitely hurts, but all right, Surge Salvation in there, the little protection spell, gives stuff hexproof, prevent damage from red and black sources, because, you know, Rakdos Scam is still a really powerful deck. Also, there's some Yawgmoth shenanigans, and here we go. Another Stone Forge. We're going to go find Hammer Time, probably. You could go Reality Chip, but you're playing against Mill, so what's the point of Reality Chip here? Like, Hammer Time's the play. Now, Hammer Time, you know, it's a 1-cost equipment there, and it equips for 8. That's why you need things like Pure Steel Paladin, Sigarda's Aid, Forge Anew to kind of get around that little window. We'll see. I still feel like Hammer Time's the better play over Reality Chip or anything like that. And yeah, so he will pick up a hammer here. Plays the hammer. Now, I know this is one of those things, like, you're playing against Mill. If you do not have Sigarda's Aid, maybe you wait on it, but it doesn't really matter too much. Like, with Pure Steel Paladin available, you can then equip it if he draws it. But, you know, Sigarda's Aid, whenever an equipment enters the battlefield under your control, you can attach it to target creature. So that's why it might be better to save the hammer in your hand if you're playing this deck. Is kind of one little thing to think about, is like, oh, okay, I'll do that. Oh, does he not attack again? He doesn't. All right, very passive Hammer Time player. Oh, wait, or maybe they're deciding. Is he going to attack now? I don't know. He's like, oh, yeah, yes. My turn. You good? Nothing else? I think we got it distracted because one of our other buddies just showed up, so. Okay, there's the attack. All right, yeah. He says, no. You're not getting away with a second one. All right, so now they're just confirming exactly what it does. It's like, okay, if I block with this, this will be exiled. I think at first our Hammer Time player was misinterpreting, thinking that Cauldron Complete would have to be exiled. That's all right, Hammer Time, yeah. Yeah, so learning the deck, figuring out. That's part of the fun, right? We're learning the lines, getting new players into Modern because it's so much fun. All right, we see Double Island, and again, a lot of the new spells in Mill are needing 3 blue. All right, Fractured Sanity needs triple blue. Tasha's Hideous Laughter is double blue and a colorless. So, but yeah, we're doing landfall triggers again off the crab. I think the debate here is about using and popping, which I think is the right play. Right, you pop, you know, a land. You also, if you have archive traps, it forces your opponent to search their library, so it gives you extra ways to be able to trigger archive trap later on, and it helps you search for an island. So Field of Ruin is great. If you're playing Mill, you should probably be running 4 of in there. You know, it's good card. All right. Now 2 islands available. There's no counter spell other than like Drown the Lock and stuff like that, so you don't have to worry about that. You could see another cycle, because remember, you can cycle on your opponent's turn. All right, it looked like there was an Esper Sentinel drawn there. So here's the thing about the Hammer Time deck. Like, if you're not getting the Inkmoth Dexys, you're not getting the stuff you want, how you gonna close out the game? Cauldron Complete's a good way to do it. Trying to get into Pure Steel Paladin. The deck is not going to be able to hard cast Hammer Time's equipment, so you're just kind of hoping for a clock this way. So let's see. Let's see what is okay, the Invisible Stalker. We talked about how just like it's different different lists than most people are running because, you know, why not? Let's have fun. Let's do the Invisible Stalkers. A lot of people have run those sideboard at one point or another, but I'm running a 2 of main board just to kind of mess with and try. You're not going to be equipping Cauldron Complete onto it as much fun as it would be, but if you can get a Pure Steel, throw a hammer on that, you guaranteed you're swinging in and closing out the game. Yeah, just starts sending people sideways at this point, right? All right. 7 damage coming across, but I think I don't know if he reverses it or takes it back. It's like, there's not really pump spells that you have to worry about. So that's why we talk through and go, hey, you don't have to worry about him surprise, pump, gotcha mode with the crab. You should block and at least absorb a little bit. All right, another Visions. Draw a card. It is instant speed, and looks like there are at least 20 cards in the graveyard, so he will pick up 3 there. Which is always nice, like being able to draw 3 cards for 1 mana. Yeah, I think I'll take that, especially at instant speed. Yeah, you got to jump through some hoops to be able to do it, but he sets yourself up nicely here. So another setup phase here, really digging for something. Oh, forces opponent to draw, of course, because Esper Sentinel is not a May ability, so maybe it's that dangerousness to play it, but getting more threats out is not bad. So Esper Sentinel in there. Whenever an opponent casts their first non-creature spell each turn, draw a card unless that player pays X, where X is Esper Sentinel's power. So in a lot of matchups, it's great to kind of get you back in the game, refuel yourself, kind of be ready. But in this case, it might actually end up being his own death. We'll find out though. So big spell coming out here, 3 mana, and the kind of save his life here. So this is, sometimes people are running this sideboard. I'm running, I think, a 1 of main board and 2 sideboard here. It's the Crypt Incursion. Again, just kind of running a different version than some people, but you exile all creature cards from target player's graveyard, gain 3 life for each card exiled this way. So this basically is going to help negate the power that that Cauldron Complete has been sending his opponent's way. So, and then a little pass turn, and he still has his crab. If worst case, he wants to start using some blocks and kind of absorbing some hits here. All right, some untaps ready to go. I mean, what do we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 9 power coming. So could be able to, again, block with the crab, take less than 5, but there's the Pure Steel. Oh God. So all right. So like we were talking about, Pure Steel has that Metalcraft. So equipments you control have an equip cost of 0 as long as you have 3 or more artifacts. So he definitely does, right? Esper Sentinel, he's got the Thopter, he's got the Springleaf Drum. So Hammer's going to go on our Invisible Stalker. Does he equip Cauldron Complete to it, or does he? Let's see his choices here. Mother Runes is nice. I mean, I guess is that like Cauldron Complete, maybe you force your opponent into blocking with the crab and taking like 2 damage or something, but we'll see. We'll see what he does. I don't know. I don't know whether it's a better play or not to go all in on that. If there's a sacrifice effect, he's got enough creatures, so he shouldn't have to be too worried about it. All right, so what do we got? 5 and 11, so 16 total damage, putting the mill player to 10 if he doesn't do any blocks. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. 10 10 life. Next turn he's dead, so he has to win this turn. That's the fun part about Modern, I feel like, or like 60 card formats, where it comes down to like one turn, and it feels a lot more of like, all right, I'm dead next turn. This is my turn to win. Like that happens in Commander sometimes, but it's like it feels like there's a lot more setup. Where this was just like, boom, this turn's the big turn. Now you have a turn to respond. How are you going to deal with it? Nobody can help you get out of this, like in Commander, where you can try to politic or something your way out of it. So Bazooka Bog comes. We're going to see a mill of 3. Bazooka Bog is, again, when some people run sideboard, you're like, oh, why would you want to do that? It shuts off visions. Yeah, but it's also, you know, there are graveyard decks that exist in Modern. It's also in there for those decks, like Living End and things like that. So. Oh, no, let's see. Okay, 3 mana. Tasha's Hideous Laughter here. So this is exile cards from your opponent's library until that player exiles cards with a total mana value of 20. Now, there's not a lot of high CMC cards in there. That's what we were talking about. We said, okay, there is the highest cost is this 1/7 drop. Otherwise, it's a 3 drop. And the rest are 2s and 1s or 0. So let's see. You can hear him screaming already every time. It's like, oh, there's the 3 cost. 0. Okay, so it looks like there are not 20 CMC where the permit is, and there's the handshake, so we'll be able to clean up. Yeah, that was it, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed that one. But that's going to do it for this one. We do have a couple other content coming up with gameplay stuff, a couple more history stuff that we're going to do. We're going to do that cycle of history video, gameplay video, history video, gameplay video. But that's doing it for this one. Thanks so much for tuning in and watching, guys, and I'll see you guys next game.